LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Welcome, everybody, on this Sunday morning live from a basement somewhere in New Jersey. Thanks so much for tuning in today. As usual, our rundown is stacked with stuff to talk about, and I'm already wired because my kid had a game at 8 a.m., 12-year-old soccer. It felt like it was 14 degrees out. An 8 a.m. away game means you got to get up at like 6 after you're at a St. Patrick's Day party the night before. Oof. So we're on our third cup of coffee, and you will be the beneficiary of that, plus some Red Bull and some Pixie Sticks. We are jacked up here, no question about it. Anyway, let's go to cut number 21 because, MS, whatever it is called now, we'll just keep calling it MSNBC because it will forever be that train wreck of a station. Now, apparently, President Trump has attacked Iran because he's racist, and the attack on Iran is racist because everything is racist over at MSNBC. Cut number 21, go.
Really disturbing in the messaging around the war recently, and Eamon, I really want your thoughts on this in particular, is some of the language and the description of their opponent. Sort of the way they seem to create this image of the Iranians and all of their sort of proxies or allies, the sort of imagery that they conjure up. And I think that it takes a certain amount of arrogance, and I'm also going to say it, a bit of racism, to constantly talk about people like they are savages. That is a word that we have heard Hegseth use.
Hegseth, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, referring to the fact that, I don't know, Hamas went into Israel on October 7th, 2023, and carried out the worst massacre of Jews that we've seen since the Holocaust. That included some of the most ways to horrifically to kill people, rape them, kidnap them, keep them for, in some cases, more than 2 years. That's savage. That is what savages do. Iran killing more than 1,000 U.S. military members, primarily with IEDs. So I'm not even talking about the ones who have been maimed, who have lost legs and arms. That's what savages do. And this moron on MSNBC has to have a big problem with, the way that we're picking on Iran and the way we're characterizing them is, dare I say it, racist. You people, this is why, say it once, I'll say it again, gas station sushi is more trusted than our media these days. When you get hot takes like this, and not on some like left-wing blog, national television, that's the conclusion that idiot came to. Anyway, it almost as bad on SNL. You want to talk about like one of the worst imitations of a president? I mean, I thought Alec Baldwin as Trump wasn't very good, but compared to this, it's not even close. Not even close. And this was last night on SNL, and I don't even understand the joke on top of it. I mean, if you're going to be a bad Trump, at least tell good jokes. All right. We're 1 for 2. Here, 0 for 2. No question. The new SNL. This is not Dana Carvey doing George H.W. Bush or Daryl Hammond doing Bill Clinton. That's certainly for sure. Cut number 20. Go.
But we will win this war because Iran is old and nobody likes them. Iran is like ballet and opera, and we're Timmy Chalamet. Wow. Kicking them while they're down, Timmy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Should I know who Timmy Chalamet is? I don't. And the crowd kind of groaned. I used to get the jokes on there. Maybe I'm getting older, but please bring back Eddie Murphy, bring back Piscopo, bring back Sandler, Farley, Farrell. And I understand the early years of Chevy Chase. Imagine that cast: Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Gilda Radner. I'm scratching the surface. I mean, boy. And Murray's still great. I saw an interview he did recently that we will play for you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Concha at night. Anyway, let's keep going because the hot takes just keep on coming when it comes to Iran. Of course, we got to hear from the Pope of late night. That is the insufferable Jimmy Kimmel on ABC. He thinks that Trump, you know what, deep down, because Jimmy really knows war. This guy is somebody that when you want to hear war analysis, this is where you turn. Again, zero comedic element here. We'll never get Carson and Kimmel mixed up. That's certainly for sure. Here's cut number 2, where Kimmel's actually making the argument that Trump wants Iran to bomb the United States. Wow. Of course he does. Cut number 2, go.
We can't handle a drone strike. We barely survived the writer's strike here, okay? And I hope these Iranians realize Donald Trump wants you to bomb us. For him, that would be a win-win. He might even bomb us himself and blame it on you, okay?
Who's laughing at that? Who would actually say, you know what, let's go see Jimmy Kimmel tonight? And it's the same thing as watching, CNN and MSNBC, except I guess, I don't know. No, there is no difference. Who are we kidding? Yeah, Trump wants Iran to bomb the U.S. or he'll bomb us himself. And then people laugh like, that's right. Yep, see, again, do not get it whatsoever. Meanwhile, our cut of the week goes to Whoopi Goldberg over at, ABC as well. What a train wreck that is. And this is Whoopi finally figuring out, why would Trump go to war with Iran? Besides them attacking us for 47 years, besides them attacking cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz, besides them being the number one, by far, state sponsor of terror with groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, they've been funding, and the Houthis as well. Maybe it's because they had nuclear ambitions and were getting close, according to their own negotiators, just weeks before we went to war, saying that, oh yeah, they got enough uranium to build 11 bombs right now. And they thought they had leverage because they thought that Donald Trump actually wasn't going to follow through on what he said he would do if they didn't make a deal. But no, Whoopi thinks there's another more sinister, nefarious kind of motivation here. Cut number 13, and this is your most crapcastic soundbite of the week. Go.
It's just nutty as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's nutty as hell.
Yeah.
And you're right. Every day is something new. And it's, I was thinking about it yesterday because I thought, well, okay, why haven't we been talking about Savannah Guthrie and what's going on there? Why have we not been talking about the Epstein files? That's still there.
Yeah.
This is meant to get us so worked up that we are unable to see anything else.
Oh, and again they clap. Because we're not talking about Savannah Guthrie and her missing mom, Nancy Guthrie. We went to war with Iran, so we're not going to talk about Nancy Guthrie. What the actual F? Honestly, this person gets paid 7 figures for that, which really drives me insane. Oh, my hair hurts from having listened to that. Not much more to say. Yeah, it's all about the Epstein files and Nancy Guthrie. That's why we're at war and putting our troops in harm's way. Unbelievable. Actually, it's not unbelievable. It's completely believable based on what we've seen from that ridiculous news show over the years. Anyway, Linda Moynihan, who is quite good on CNN, she plays kind of the role of Scott Jennings if Jennings isn't there, and she comes prepared. See, I can appreciate that. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, independent, whatever. You're going to go on national television. Don't be like Whoopi and just make up stuff, the first thing that pops into your head, as far as distracting from Nancy Guthrie as far as going to war. Here is Moynihan calling out the media on their Iran coverage because it's a pretty logical conclusion to come to. It's not because they're basing it in any fact or basing it on any sort of precedent, but it's all because they just hate Trump. So whatever Trump does, if Trump finds, if Trump were to ban pineapple on pizza, then Democrats would come out completely for pineapple on pizza, and the media would tell you that actually, no, it's not disgusting. Pineapple on pizza is the greatest thing ever. Well, here, because we're at war with an adversary of nearly 5 decades, well, this is why Moynihan believes the media is so anti-USA, quite frankly, in their Iran coverage. Cut number 14, go.
As you said, many administrations are unhappy with headlines. I find it interesting, though, that I've seen among Democratic politicians and many in the media, they seem to almost be rooting for America to fail because they don't like Trump. And if you look at some of these headlines, they're kind of what? U.S. capability, showing signs of rot. Iran regime doing well, in control. The U.S. has no strategy.
What outlets are you quoting?
U.S. has no strategy. The Atlantic.
Of course, Abby Phillips not going to stand there and take that. What outlets are you quoting? The Atlantic, Washington Post, CNN. You know, that's the thing. It's one thing to have an opinion when you're on TV, as somebody who goes on hundreds of times a year on Fox News. It's another thing to have receipts. That's the whole trick. She very easily said, the media is against Trump because they hate him. All right. What proof do you have of that? She had the proof. She was reading headline after headline before she was cut off, of course, because there are many, many more, where we hear about how, what the U.S. is spending on lobster and steak on a daily basis. I mean, that was probably the most unbelievable claim. Paul Begala, who was relevant 40 years ago, said that Pete Hegseth himself is spending millions of dollars on steak and lobster for himself. To which then all these servicemen and women were putting up little videos of them having steak and lobster before they went off to the Iran war. In fact, Matt, for this one, a little curveball for you. Let's go with cut number 11 here, just to bring those receipts. Cut number 11, go.
Brothers Defect has steak and lobster. How's this steak and lobster? All right. Damn, you're decent. How's yours? I'm ready for war. We're going to war.
Yeah, the MREs, which are like many, food that's pre-prepared, right? Because you got to get it out quickly into a lot of people. Usually not that great from the military people that I've spoken to. But when you get steak and lobster, that shows, okay, you're going off to war, you're fighting for this country, we're going to try to treat you as well as we can. And we got to spend a little bit more for that. Well, what better group of people to spend it for than our men and women putting themselves on the line as far as their lives are concerned. Anyway, the left isn't completely crazy, however, because we have Bill Maher, again. This is why he lasts on television. This is why he gets good ratings, because he's unpredictable. He very easily can say things where the SEALs in his audience can clap along, but he just says exactly how he feels and doesn't care what the left, or the right for that matter, really thinks of his opinions. All right, you can disagree with him, fine. But at least I know I'm getting an honest take, because it's always been very consistent as far as that's concerned. This is cut number 15. Go.
Trump said that the Iranians have no Navy, no communications, and no Air Force. And they shot back and they said, and you have no affordable housing, no functioning Congress, and no attention span. Game on. But, all right. Look. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm on our side. Okay, I'm for us winning, all right? I'm not on that page of Trump did it, so I'm with the Ayatollah now.
Well, all right, so it takes a little shot at Trump. He is liberal, of course. And then says, oh, by the way, I'm on our side, all right? I'm not suddenly going to start supporting the Ayatollah or the Iran mullahs or hope that the U.S. is in another Iraqi war situation where suddenly this goes on to the point where, remember, the shellacking that George W. Bush took in 2006 nearly didn't even get reelected in 2004. Then obviously Obama and the Democrats completely take over in 2008. Most of that was because of an Iraq war that wasn't very well thought out. Too many boots on the ground, too many sitting ducks for IEDs and so on. That's not going to be the case here. The way Trump is executing this war, Hegseth has been with pinpoint. In other words, like Cargill and like taking that out near the Strait of Hormuz, and obviously a big producer of oil for Iran. You do that, you choke off Tehran completely, because that's the whole ball game as far as their revenue is concerned. We don't even know if the son, Mujtaba Khomeini, is even alive, because we keep getting statements from him, but we don't actually see him. So that's a problem, right? So they may not have leadership. As Trump said, no Navy. The Army's basically irrelevant, no Air Force. And the Strait, once that's open completely, then we're going to see some really interesting stuff. Anyway, Matt, I'm going to squeeze in one more, if you don't mind. Let's go to Bill Maher, talking about the Ayatollahs. Let's see. Twig and berry is not working. Yeah, I can't really say that other word on the air. This is cut 16 before we go to break. Go.
Yes, it's the late Ayatollah Khomeini's son. He goes by the name Nepo Kablooey. And he's a very holy man, like his father. Holy man. Very holy man. But interesting tidbit, 4 times he has traveled to a clinic in England to treat impotence. Yes, I love the Ayatollahs. They hate the infidel West until doesn't work. And then it's get me on the 2 p.m. to Heathrow, okay? Yeah, 4 trips. 4 trips to this clinic. This guy's got a real problem. I mean, when he gets to paradise, he's going to say to the 72 virgins, can we just talk?
See, that's funny. I guess the word he used was the nickname of Richard Nixon. We'll put it that way, not working. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Back with so much more in just a moment.